Hi, I'm a game developer, currently learning Unreal Engine. Unreal is 3D, so I need 3D models for my games, but my modeling skills, zero. I couldn't make a single prop if my life depended on it. So I set myself a challenge. Learn Blender in just 3 days and create a game-ready asset I can actually use in Unreal. If you search how to learn Blender on YouTube, you'll see the famous donut tutorial. And I'm not doing the donut. Here's why. It's like learning a piano and your teacher makes you play some obscure classical piece you don't even like. Yes, classical music can be amazing, but you're not impressing anyone with this. Instead, I found a 5-year-old tutorial by FlippedNormals, a fast-paced, no-fluff project. Perfect. The first video hits you with every hotkey and tools you'll use, borderline information overload, but for me, it's exactly what I wanted. After some painful hotkey memorization, I was extruding, insetting, beveling, adding materials and rendering my first ever Blender model. 3 hours later, finished. No UVs, no texturing yet, but a strong start. If you love speed learning, I highly recommend this course. I wanted to keep going, but couldn't find a YouTube series that covered everything from start to finish, so I bought a Udemy course. Spoiler, not my smartest move. It was about building a medieval building with a watermill and windmill. We started with the blocking phase, and halfway through I realized I was completely bored. The building was too symmetrical, too complex for my current level, and my brain just checked out. The lesson here is, when you're learning something fast, if you're not into it, just stop. Switch projects. It's not a failure to leave it unfinished. You still learn from it, but you'll move faster if you're actually interested in what you're building. After ditching the Udemy course, I found a channel called CGCookie. They look like they know what they're doing. The course I found was called Relic Game Asset Creation Fundamentals in Blender. This was exactly my goal. At first, it was fantastic. We used modifiers for cool effects like cloth wrapping around the torch handle. I learned more about modifiers than I had in my first tutorial. Sculpting a rock? Fun. But then, we hit a tricky modeling section where my result didn't match with the tutorial. That little mistake came back to bite me later. Once we had our high detailed model, it was time for retopology. And I hated it. Retopology is basically rebuilding your model with fewer polygons so it's optimized for games, then using textures like normal maps to fake the high detail. Pros swear by this, but after struggling, I asked my 3D artist friend for advice. He said you can just model low or medium detail version of the model from the start, then add extra detail in Substance Painter. That clicked instantly. Still, I wanted to finish the project, so I moved on to UV unwrapping, and I failed spectacularly. Quick explainer: textures are in 2D and the models are in 3D, and UV unwrapping is basically how you flatten the model so the texture fits perfectly. It's like peeling an orange and laying it flat. Yeah, sounds exciting, right? I encountered some problems. First, it's not easy to UV unwrap. Second, I've made mistakes earlier in the modeling process which made it harder to UV unwrap. And third, the tutor used Blender extensions I couldn't install for some reason. So I gave up on proper UVs, slapped solid colors on different parts, rendered it and called it done. By now I was overwhelmed, but I needed a win, so I started fresh, no tutorials, just me, Blender and a reference image of a gun. I used everything I've learned so far. The topology wasn't great, but I was proud, it was my work. For UV unwrapping, I watched a couple of quick YouTube tips, I marked the seams and managed to get a workable unwrap. The whole model fit into one material and one texture map. So, following my friend's advice, I brought the model into Substance Painter, but because I only had one material, I couldn't paint parts separately. Well, I found a solution. The solution is called Vertex ID. In Blender, you can assign different colors to different parts of the model. Then in Substance Painter, you bake with the ID map and boom, you can drag and drop materials to each section individually. This was a game changer. I didn't even bother with full tutorials of Substance Painter at this point. I was exhausted. I just applied a few materials, exported and got ready for Unreal. I imported the model into Unreal and the faces were flipped inside out. In Blender everything looked fine, normals were correct, I was stumped. After an hour of frustration, I stumbled across an obscure YouTube video saying, check for negative scale. Sure enough, that was it. My model was scaled in negative direction, so I fixed it, re-exported, and my first Blender model was fully textured and sitting in Unreal, although it didn't look nice at all. In 3 days I went from zero Blender experience to modeling, unwrapping, texturing and importing my own game asset into Unreal. The texture's honestly terrible, but it's a start. From here it's just more practice, more mistakes and more progress. Thank you for watching. If you want more game dev content, hit subscribe and leave a like.